Depression was the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, I know how fucked that sounds. And let me be clear, I'm not grateful for depression itself. I'm grateful for what it forced me to become. Because it didn't feel good, it was absolute shit. It drained me, fucked with my head, made me someone I didn't even recognize at times. But it forced me down a path I know I wouldn't have chosen on my own. A path where I actually had to start looking after myself properly. Where I started researching, understanding what was going on in my own head instead of just ignoring it. Where fitness stopped being optional and became necessary. Running, training, discipline. Not because I felt like it, but because I needed it. And it didn't just change how I handled myself. It changed how I showed up for other people. Because now I get it. I understand how heavy it can feel. And that's part of why this podcast even exists, to talk about it properly, to help people who are going through it but don't know how to say it. So yeah, depression didn't give me anything I wanted, but it gave me a lot of what I needed. It forced me to actually look at myself. No bullshit, no excuses, and it forced me to change. Because the truth is, before that, I thought I had my life together. I didn't. I was just good at ignoring the cracks. No one really explains this properly. People think depression is just being sad. It's not. It's being exhausted for no reason, snapping over stupid little things, feeling guilty constantly, being around people you love and still feeling miles away from them. That one hit me hard, because I've got people in my life that mean everything to me. There were times I was there physically, but mentally gone. And that messes with your head. Because you just sit there thinking, what the fuck is wrong with me? And here's where it gets heavier. Blokes are terrible at talking about this stuff. In the UK, suicide is one of the leading causes of death for men under 50. That's not small. That's not rare. That's happening all the time. And a big part of that is this idea that we just deal with it. Keep it in, don't talk, don't show weakness. I was doing exactly that. Carrying stress, pressure, expectations, and saying nothing. Because you think that's what being solid looks like. But that mindset, it'll bury you if you're not careful. There's a point where you can't outrun it anymore. No distractions, no I'll deal with it later. It catches up. And for me, it showed up in ways I didn't like. Short temper, snapping over nothing, no patience, constantly on edge. And I hated it because that's not who I wanted to be. But instead of fixing it, I avoided it. And that's the truth. Sometimes you know you're not right and you still don't deal with it because facing it means admitting something's off. There were moments I'm not proud of. Snapping when I shouldn't have, being distant when I should have been present, just not being the man I expect myself to be. And that's the bit that people don't talk about enough. Depression doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you, people you care about most. And it hit me hard because it made me realize this isn't just my problem to ignore anymore. I had to sort myself out, not just for me, but for them. But eventually you run out of places to hide. And that's where everything changed because I had to sit there and go, right, no bullshit, what's actually going on here? And some of the answers weren't nice. I had to admit I wasn't handling stress properly. My patience was shit at times. I was reactive instead of in control. I wasn't looking after myself. And that's hard to say because it hits your ego. But that level of honesty, that's where things start to shift. Because once you stop lying to yourself, you can actually do something about it. This is the part that people might not get. But depression forced me to look at myself properly. No mask, no ego, just truth. And from that, things started to change. I started running, not because I loved it, but because I needed something to clear my head. Same with the gym, and that turned into discipline. Because most days I didn't feel like going, but I went anyway. And that builds something different, something solid. There's research behind this as well. Regular exercise has been shown to significantly reduce symptoms of depression, sometimes comparable to medication for mild to moderate cases. And I get why, because it gives you structure, control, And when your head feels all over the place, that control matters more than anything. It also showed me people for who they really are, who checks in, who actually gives a shit, who disappears. That clarity is uncomfortable, but it's valuable. Same with yourself. You see your weak points, your triggers, the stuff you've been avoiding, and yeah, it's brutal, but I'd rather face that than spend years pretending it's not there. I think the biggest shift for me was this. I stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And I started asking, what is this trying to teach me? And that's not an easy switch because it means taking responsibility. It means admitting you've got things to work on. It means facing parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. But once you do that, you realize something important. You're not stuck. You're just avoiding what needs to change. And that's a hard truth, but it's also a powerful one. And something I didn't expect, it made me appreciate life more. Because when you've been in that place where everything feels flat, heavy, pointless, coming out of that even a bit, you notice things again. Energy, progress, just feeling like yourself for a day, that becomes a win. And I don't take that for granted anymore. And just to be clear, I'm not fixed. This isn't some perfect ending. I still have my off days. I still get stressed. I still catch myself slipping sometimes. But now I'm aware of it and I fight it every single day. Not just for me, but for the people around me as well. Because how I show up matters. And I didn't always realize that before. This podcast, this doesn't exist without that period of my life. Simple as that. That struggle forced me to open up. And if me talking about this even helps one person feel less alone or actually face what they're going through, then that's worth it. If you're in that place right now feeling off, numb, angry, lost, don't ignore it. Face it. Talk to someone. Move your body. Be honest with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable as hell, because there's something in that struggle trying to show you what needs to change. And yeah, it's hard, but so is staying stuck. I wouldn't wish depression on anybody, but I can't ignore what it gave me. It gave me clarity, discipline, perspective, and I'm still fighting the good fight every day. And the difference now is I actually know what I'm fighting for. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow the podcast for more episodes like this. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.